Good. Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Cicero Planning Board meeting. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Duval, would you lead us off, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business is the approval of the April 3rd meeting minutes. Any questions or comments? We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Ms. Scanlon,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss.
Yes.
And I vote yes, minutes have been approved. Now we'll go on to the public input. If there's anybody here that would like to address the board on any active application, you can do so now. Given nobody is approaching, we'll close the public input. Just a quick announcement, the last item on the agenda, Next Choice Property Holdings has been removed at the request of the applicant. And with that, we'll go to the first item, which is a proposed commercial landscape building for the property at 6344 East Taft Road. Good evening, welcome back. Good, thank you. How are you? You go ahead and review the changes that you've made.
Yes. Cooper Kale with RZ Engineering. The architect added the bump out to the building, so there is the 4-foot kind of L shape after the awning. We also added the stripe around the building, so there's a division between kind of stories. And then we also added the note to the site plans stating that all equipment will be stored behind the fence. And then we also have the approval letters from the county DOT for everyone as well.
We received that.
You guys got this? Okay. And those were all the changes you guys asked us to make.
Thank you. We'll open it up to questions, Mr. Duval.
Okay, there was a question about a trailer that had supplies in it that would be kept behind the fence.
Yes. Paint the same color as the building.
Okay. All right, I'm good.
It should be good.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Abbey.
Just one comment. I think we asked about being 1 story last time.
It's gonna be a 1-story building, 16 foot ceiling.
Because, you know, to look at it, it certainly looks like a 2-story building.
I just wanted to have a tall area for it. I have a mini loader that I use, and I wanted to be able to make sure that would fit.
Sure. Okay, so there's not going to be a loft or any such thing for storage.
No plans for that.
Okay. And was it mentioned about the driveway going on to Taft Road being paved?
Yes, yep,
Okay, so we're all set there.
yeah, the parking lot will be big. Put the water crush down, and then towards the end of the season, when the water crush has had some time to settle,
Mhm.
then we'll get big.
Sure. Thank you.
Ms. Scanlon?
So I noticed that you moved the large overhead door, you swapped them over. So, and where you put the bump out or I don't know, is there a reason why, to me, where the door is, where you go in and out, that should have been bumped out?
There would be 4 more feet in the initial lawn care building.
Right?
So I figured I would put the overhead door on that, if I had to bring anything in, I'd get 4 more feet and able to work with.
So
I mean, you can never have enough space.
I know, and I get it, but I don't understand where your entry door is, where the
It's the
people
entry
door.
Is underneath the overhang. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm
No,
sorry.
I do see that, but why wasn't that bumped out instead of, because right now, to me, aesthetically, your big overhead door is your focal point of your building.
I can move it back over if you wish.
That doesn't matter to me. I just was wondering why.
Why it was moved?
No,
Why there's a big overhead door?
no, I'm sorry. I'm not explaining myself well, like where your people door is, why wasn't that just bumped out? If you just needed to have a bump,
They told me that if the building is longer than 60 feet, I had to have a minimum of, I believe it was 2 feet to bump out, and that's, we did it right next to the overhang
and I see that.
to the entry door, and we tried to keep everything in line, and the way we did it like that is to keep it all, aesthetically eye-pleasing, I guess.
Well,
So are you asking for like another L shape on the other side of like the people door? Is that what you're looking
no,
for?
I'm not, I'm just, why wasn't the people door made the L?
The people door did make the bump out.
Yeah, I'm a little confused on what you're asking.
So
about.
I think maybe I can clarify.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe. So the L that they did is what we require, what we require. Are you suggesting that the porch part come out instead
Just
of
that
the,
whole section where the people door is come out instead of, because right now the focal point of your building is that big white overhead door. And if that's gonna bother you, I don't know, it would bother me.
The reason I went that tall with the doors so I could make sure I could get my equipment. Rather than do you want me to shorten up the door?
I don't. I don't. I just feel that the area that's bumped out should be your center peak there.
We made
Here, I'll have to
the reason we did it like that is because there's 3 peaks on the roof,
working.
and we wanted to make the entryway line up with the center peak. So that's how we come and did it that way.
I don't see it.
what they did is complying with what we require.
It is,
Just, yeah,
it's just.
but I'm still not clear on what you're saying. Are you saying that the entrance area, the whole piece should come out?
Are you just looking for the whole center peak itself, just to be, like,
That's-
there'd be
that
almost
center
2
area.
Ls,
Yes,
kind of?
yeah, the center where the man door is, that bump out, and then the other 2 where your garage doors.
When we were here the last time, what they had requested of us was that we, somewhere down the front of the building, we broke the building up
Yes,
and had it bump out. I had it bump out 4 feet. And because of where it fell, we put the awning for the man door going in above the center peak. So everything would look like it was in line.
I also I don't know if we can flip to the landscaping plan, but we also have a lot of trees in the front of the property. You're not gonna when the leaves are on the trees, you're not gonna see the front of the building per se from the road too much.
How about painting the top half of that, door, same color as the siding? Be less,
That's not,
like a sore thumb sticking in the middle. Just a thought.
I could paint it right down to the 8 feet line that the other doors have. You wanted,
What, at least the top half could match the siding and it would blend.
yeah, if you guys are all right with that?
Okay,
That's a good idea.
but
yeah, I'm fine with that. I just wanted to point out that right now, how you have it, that big door is your focal point of your building.
It was before too.
Well, not so much.
It's
Maybe
just because it was on the other
angle.
location. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
angle.
Like I said, I could switch it back to the other side if you wish.
I'm not sure that would change anything
No,
other than the
Okay.
picture view.
I mean, the other issue. Well, I guess the thing I'm saying is that before there was an admin.
I think.
Yeah,
if
I do like the 2L thing, but I'm,
I could paint it halfway down.
I'm good with that.
Me too.
Yep.
And I think with the landscaping, as you suggested, that would help.
We're gonna have a lot of trees and shrubs.
We might talk about that.
Yeah.
the maples, this way they'll all have a different variety of color in the fall. And drawing the landscape, but I got.
You are.
Mary, anything else?
No. that's all I
Ross?
have.
I'm all set.
I'm all set as well. Mr. Wilkie,
I'm all set.
Mr. Jermaine, I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah, I would just tell you, I heard from, all the nerds today. They're all set. They
They're
don't have any further concerns with this. I don't want to, when we're talking about, I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in about painting half the door. How about you just paint the whole door to blend in with the rest of the building? You know, it's a
like that
neutral
even-
tone.
Right.
I like that even better.
Mhm.
The other door, no, I could leave white, correct?
Yeah, in my opinion.
That's, that,
Good idea.
good with that.
So what do you want to be able to bring your loader in where the big door is?
So I can get in there and, you know, clean it up and stuff. Winter time, it's a lot better when it's a little warm. and it's
Right.
rolled up, right?
Okay, I
And
understand.
I've had real good luck with plugging them in because you're not there and something sparks and you plug them all over them. Okay, pickup trucks, using plugs. The low plugs, that's the thing.
All set. Good idea on the door, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mark? I'll make a motion for our standard seeker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes,
Mrs. Scanlon,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Seeker passes. Neil, would you propose a motion with the modification?
Post-commercial landscape building is condition of the following: one, our color schemes, renderings, and elevation are presented by the applicant to the planning board and back to the application. First, incorporated by reference to the site plan of the board of people that are accordingly, the actual project must substantially conform to the item presented here. Two, large overhead door will be painted or colored to match or blend with the adjacent siding.
Would somebody like to make that in a form?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Ms. Scanlon,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss.
Yes.
And I vote yes. You're all set. Good luck.
Awesome sauce.
You're
Now
welcome.
you gotta go to work.
Yeah, now it's all on my shoulders, right? Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. You all have a good evening.
Thank you.
too.
You're the same.
Too.
Next item on the agenda is for a proposed addition at Brewerton Animal Hospital for the property at 9461 Brewerton Road. Welcome back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Lepick, Shop for Architects. Dr. Prosser could not be here tonight, so it's just me. Do you want me to just run through all of the comments and changes that we've made since the
please.
last? Okay. So last meeting, we discussed just getting a new site survey updated. We got that done from Iannuzzi and Romans. They mapped the easements that were in question. So they've been mapped and we have the information from the county on file. So the property abstract, all that stuff is all set. Site lighting, we had Vertex Lighting Solutions help us to come up with a photometric for the site. It's on, I believe, L 1.1. And we went back and forth with your engineer on that to make sure that the foot candle readings are low around the perimeter of the property. He did have to change one of the lights. I sent that in the latest information. Parking, we talked a lot about parking last time. I put a chart on the title sheet for this. So Dr. Prosser and I spoke more about it after our last meeting, and he had some of his employees keep an eye out front every, time of day, peak times of appointments. They looked at when they have the most staff there. And then he projected adding another vet and a couple more techs when he expands. And he's quite certain that there's plenty of parking the way it is. So if you are all okay with this setup, he thinks that'll work just right for him. What's next? The water usage data, we obtained Aqua billing information back to, I think, 2014. And it's been several different things since then, but we tried to figure out the dates when it was a restaurant and a brewery. Compared that usage versus what the projected usage is that our plumbing engineer gave us, and we're under what it was for a restaurant. The fire hydrant, the closest hydrant that was mapped is in excess of 400 feet. So we've proposed a new hydrant. The construction management company has contacted Aqua. They are in the works with getting flow data and are ready whenever we tell them to go with planning this new hydrant. And then what else do we have? The most recent comments that we received in writing. One was regarding the existing stormwater management. There are 2 bioretention basins, one on the front of the property and one along the south side to the left of the driveway. They're quite overgrown, probably just not managed all these years. So we're proposing to have that dug out, regraded the way that it was shown on the original drawings. And then topsoil, seed, and mulch. And the owner's prepared to, whatever we find that might not be in compliance with what the original plan was, we will bring it up to date. Again, we won't really know until they start digging around and pulling out old grass and stuff like that. Let's see. There was a comment about wheel stops being discouraged. So we just took them off there completely. They were sort of an afterthought that we put on thinking it would protect the front porch and that little front vestibule area from cars potentially running into it. But if wheel stops are an issue, we just decided to take them right off there. So it becomes a non-issue, and the owner didn't care either way whether they were there. So I just deleted them right from the site plan. Let's see the rest of this list. Lighting, we already went over. There was a comment about no signage on the building itself, and that's correct. Dr. Prosser doesn't plan to add anything on the building itself. We added a dumpster enclosure, which will it'll be a 8-foot tall white heavy duty white vinyl to match that privacy screen that separates the patio from the employee entrance. There was a question about the bio waste outdoor storage pickup area. So that's literally just trash where throughout the day, they'll empty trash cans, bring them to a trash area in that little storage room. Also for sharps and anything that needs to be picked up by a bio waste service, that'll just be the door that they come to pick that stuff up. And the employees will use that door at night to transfer all the trash out to the dumpster. Back to that bio retention area on the south side next to the driveway. There's a swale that runs through there that's existing. It's currently filled with tree trunks and debris that the adjacent property owner has been throwing in there. So Dr. Prosser spoke to them this week and they are in the works with moving it out. They didn't have any balks at that at all. And then there's an existing, the doctor put his boat in the back of the building with a temporary storage canopy over it, and he will be removing that. I think that addressed all of the comments that I am aware of.
We'll open up the questions from the board, Mr. Duval.
Okay, so there won't be a sign on the building,
Correct.
but there will be a sign by the road, correct?
Yes, I think we touched on that last time. There's an existing sign there now,
Yeah.
so we plan to just clean it up,
use that.
use the same structure. The sign itself will be about the same size. There's currently power run to that sign and with a couple of mismatched lights. So we'll take those off and put a more decorative gooseneck style lamp on it, which is shown on the title sheet.
So you're gonna clean up what's there and.
Yeah, we'll probably, what I showed on this detail is wrapping the existing posts with like a black cellular PVC, something that won't require any maintenance. So that over time, as it sits, it'll maintain its appearance.
Okay, and as far as the drainage, swale or retention areas, you'll take care of cleaning that up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Abbey.
Thank you. You recovered all the notes that I put down, so it's easy. Thanks.
Okay, great.
Ms. Scanlon.
So one more question regarding the sign. Do we have rules about the scale of it? Like, does it fit current?
We do and it does.
It does. Okay, good. Got to make sure you can read it as you're driving by. And also, I wasn't at the last meeting, so I just had one question. When I looked at the property online, there looked like a lot of undeveloped area behind this property. Is there an access easement through the property or anything that we have to worry about?
Yes, there are two. If you go to the site plan on L 1.0, or even on the survey, that the first plan to the left shows an easement that goes through the front parking lot over to what will, I'm assuming, eventually be a road on the adjacent property. And then there's also an easement that runs straight back through.
Back.
Yep.
Okay, so they can.
So essentially, most of his parking lot is an easement. It is what it is.
As long as they still can get back there.
Yep, yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Bloss.
The question on is there, access to that property, is it there also a street that comes in off, what's the road? Help me out here.
Oh, and is it Orangeport Road?
Orangeport.
That, I don't know. I don't know much
No,
about
we
that
had that
property.
property come up before us, and I think there's they want, if they built them houses in there, there was a road that would drive, that so they could drive in and out of that property.
Okay, the one schematic that I saw on that was that small strip of land to the north. They showed a potential future road or something there, but
Yeah, you should be, I think you'll be fine
yeah,
the way that's all set up.
okay.
And my first thought was, when I looked at it tonight, was the sign. And I've been by there several times and you got your work cut out for you.
Yeah. It looks terrible, but I went up to it and it's, the bones are good. So
Solid.
yeah, we'll just clean it up.
I'm all set.
What's that? The bio waste storage. So. I think this is where it's indicated. Or maybe here.
It's in the back, right next to the employee entry on the back side of the
So bio waste, I hear it, and I'm
privacy
like, ooh.
fence.
Are you required by certain restrictions on how that's managed, how it's stored? Where is it stored? I don't see where it's stored.
So inside the building, if you go to the A 1.0 floor plan, we're just showing a couple of trash cans in there and a sharps container. So sharps are, the needles and stuff. They put them in this red bin that eventually gets picked up by a service that's licensed by the state to do that. So we're just providing them with an access point to get to it so they don't have to come through the
So
whole
it's stored
building.
inside.
Yep, it's stored inside.
It was a little confusing.
Yeah. I think.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Wilkie,
I'm all set.
Mr. Procopio,
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Jermaine. For Parrish.
All set.
I will make a motion for our standard seeker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Ms. Scanlon,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Seeker passes. Neil, would you propose a motion for approval, please?
application. LLC, 946 from Virgin Road, proposed addition to improvement, possible panels, is approved with restricted condition on the following. One, the proposed and granted center elevation presented by the applicant to the planning board. Any variance of application shall be incorporated by reference into the statement, the board's approval thereof. Accordingly, the actual project must substantially be.
Would somebody like to make that in the form of a motion?
That's in the form of a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Ms. Scanlon,
yeah,
Mr. Bloss?
Yes.
And I vote yes. You're all set. Good luck with it.
great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Last item on the agenda is for a proposed restaurant at 8354 Brewerton Road. It's Frank's Sushi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pat Reynolds with Romans Land Surveying, representing the applicant in this application. So the applicant is interested in opening a Chinese sushi restaurant on the corner of 11 and 31, utilizing the existing former restaurant at that location. As part of this, they will be leasing 5 separate tax parcels. Majority of that's the existing parking out there. The owner that owns the parcels that they'll be leasing from also owns those 2 parcels down on Crabtree Lane. As far as the restaurant itself goes, they're not proposing any physical changes to the building aside from a 23 square foot internally lit sign on the north side of the building. It will be mounted on the roof, but below the peak. Really, the majority of our improvements, we tried to reconfigure the parking, make something that fit code. Currently, there's 38 parking spaces across those 5 parcels that make up our site. And with the reconfiguration, I was able to fit 40 spaces in there. For their use right now, they would like to have 25 tables and then 15 bar spots. And then they are also say they're going to have about 9 employees max at any given time. We kind of went through parking calculation for that. We were thinking 1.5 parking spaces per table, 1 space per bar spot, and then 1 space for each employee, which put us at a count of 62 spaces needed. When we brought this to their attention, the property owner had mentioned that we could reconfigure parking on the 2 adjacent parcels as far as restriping goes, if there was a need for additional parking spaces. And in doing that, it looks like we could fit a total of 75 spaces in there. If the 40 that we came up with proved not to be enough. Aside from the parking restriping improvements, the existing dumpster is currently on one of the adjacent parcels that is on Crabtree Lane. That dumpster is currently being used by some of the other businesses that are utilizing the property that sits on the corner of Brochen Road and Crabtree Lane. And the property owner asked if we could fix up that, put our dumpster enclosure down there, and then that way all the refuse for everything that's happening on their properties would be contained.
You're talking right here?
That's correct. So for that, it's just a concrete pad with a cedar fence surround, and that'll house the dumpsters for the restaurant and the existing dumpsters that are being used by the other businesses. Currently, the site has access from Brewerton Road and 31. And right now, we'd like to utilize those existing points of entry. We also understand that Crabtree Lane is probably had been used as an entry point for the site and will continue to be used as an entry point for the site. So the owner has no objections to getting a cross-access agreement to allow all the tax parcels to the north to cross that one parcel down on the corner of Crabtree and Brewerton Road. With the parking layout, rearranging it, I was able to get a fair amount of existing blacktop removed out of the site. With the majority of what we're removing out, we'll seed it so it'll be lawn. We show some perimeter landscaping going around the parking lot. Some stuff we'll be adding along the front of the restaurant between Brewerton Road and the restaurant. Kind of sums it up, huh?
When you talk about the access from Crabtree,
Yep.
is that through here or through here?
Well, I'm thinking right in through there because that's where it's paved. Unfortunately, the other part, the hatch part there is existing gravel, and I understand people are probably cutting in through that too. At this time, the property owner wasn't thrilled with the idea of repaving, taking the gravel out. They'd like to see if we can get by without doing any sort of development work on those two parcels.
We'll see how that conversation goes. All set? We'll open up the questions. Mr. Duarte?
What would the enclosure be for the dumpsters? As far as a fence or,
It'd just be a 6-foot cedar stockade fence with a gate on the front.
okay. And as far as parking, how many handicap spots?
So, currently right now, in this configuration, we have 2 handicap spots in front of the restaurant. And then, if we were to go into a situation like a reserve parking, we are showing, 2 additional parking spots that would be down on the corner of Brewerton Road and Crabtree. The intent of those handicap spots, I guess, would be more so easy access to the businesses that would be down on the corner there.
So there would be a total of 4?
If we, yeah, on page 3 of the site plan, we have what we call our reserve parking, if additional parking spaces were needed. So that would give us our max build out of 75 parking spaces. And in that instance, we would have 4 accessible parking spaces. As it is, we were trying to keep the site plan contained to the 5 tax parcels that the applicant would be leasing. So in that scenario, we'd be looking at 40 parking spaces total, and that is including 2 accessible parking spaces,
How many employees?
9. So going over the parking situation with the applicant stressed that the employees don't drive. I know that seems kind of like a stretch. We didn't quite get into how they're going to access. That's why we kind of figured them into our count. They feel that the 40 spaces will give them enough parking on
So
there.
9 employees, how many tables?
25.
25.
Yep. And then
How many people at a table on average?
they said 4 to 6. It was going to be a mix of 4 to 6.
So maybe 2 cars per table?
We were figuring about 1.5 per table, which that alone for the tables put it at about 38 parking spaces.
and 9 employees.
Yeah.
Are gonna walk, or we're gonna pretend they're gonna drive,
Yeah, I mean,
and then the bar stools.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, not at 40.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jim.
Sorry.
Can you explain the parcel ownership situation?
so here, it's seven different tax parcels. Essentially, when you look at the block and you take out Burned Dairy, and then you take out, Red Apple, or what, you take out the 2 gas stations, and you're left with these tax parcels. And they're in different legal entities, but it's the same person that owns or has control over all of them. So,
Seems we need to do some consolidation. And I did look at it, it seemed to me that 2 of them were underneath a different owner with the same, at least the county tax record, which 2 of them were town plan focused.
Yep.
And then the remainders, in LLC, with the same name.
yeah.
So, but if they're all underneath the
Crabtree.
same control, the same, essentially, it seems that, I don't know if we want to combine all of them, but it starts to be very messy when we start putting up with other parking, but seems to be required on all these separate parts. You're gonna need so many easements that you will never get through.
Yeah, I don't wanna pile on, but another reason, not just for this site, but for anything. We're to have them all on one and one lot. And one of the reasons is, think about the follow. Okay, so let's get that 7 lots, and we approve a site plan, 37 units.
And what's going? Part of the problem too, with, so we're looking at parking calculations. Got a number of, we're full build out parking kind of here. But we're not accounting for the parking that's needed for those buildings on the southern lot. So those spots, I argue, start looking at how many parking for that. Take out most of what you would be able to allocate to that to the restaurant. And so I think you gotta look at how these lots can be, it would seem at the very least, the one on the southeast corner, like Crabtree and Route 11, or northeast corner there. We've got all those buildings which function essentially as a series of like a strip mall, right, Steve?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and so the parking and everything you show for those really should be allocated to those at the very least, who knows, would be more. And then the other parcel with the house, maybe combined with the rest of them, if you're gonna have to have that parking over there. If you get it reconfigured, it'll make sense, yes. But I think that we gotta look at this, and make it work. And I do think there's gonna be parts of it. I think everybody knows the restaurant use, if it's successful, will bring in a lot of people. Look at Pakistan, Pakistan, all these places.
Frank's one was open.
Yeah, and so I think you're gonna need those spots, and I think you gotta look at, combining this in a more cohesive plan. Wow. I could see keeping the one out on the corner, but the rest seem like. Then you'll have the restaurant use, whatever the house is being used for.
It's, looks to be a law currently in there. I understand, that there was some concerns we had, what kind of overlap of usage, to get that, and without, certainly I will go in and find out what the specific uses are. I did the best I could writing in on these pages, what businesses are currently using those slots. My best estimation in that strip mall, roughly, the sizes of them, and then the hours of operation. Just so we could kind of see if there was any sort of overlap or if we were doing a shared parking between them, that type of thing, but.
I don't think you need a lot there. Maybe you could help for do spots in there for the restaurant use, but again, I just think you gotta look at combining these. Fitting them into a more cohesive plan.
I agree. Oh, you good for now?
If you come back around to the other.
Where were we?
Me, but I'm good. I'm all set now.
I had a couple of things. One in mention on the dumpster. We've always kind of encouraged businesses to use vinyl.
I know. Okay.
Because wood, no matter what it is, deteriorates after years. And as far as entrances, are you showing two entrances on Route 11? One just in north of the building and then the one just north of the double parking section?
Nope. So yeah, right now it'll just be the one entrance, and then any existing blacktop or what would be the row, right, the next row of up north of that, sorry. We took out whatever, if there was any pavement in there, we're closing everything off, trying to make it look like, so it is just that one entrance in right in front of the restaurant by those handicap spaces. Yeah,
Yes, that's not.
yeah, so on the plan, anything
Okay,
that's
so looks like it.
green, I tried to color the grass to make it stand out as green space.
Okay, now in the entrance there on 31.
Yep.
Were they planning on continuing that? Because
As of right now, the existing,
isn't
entrance there.
the rule, you have to be 150 feet away from an intersection?
Or-
Unless they're existing, and we haven't really applied that.
Really? Okay, has the DOT looked at your entrances and curb cuts and all that yet?
we haven't sent it over to the DOT because we're utilizing the existing. And
Yeah.
it's just in the past, they're kind of in the existing. I know
Okay.
it's not a preferred. Again, it's just, they'd like to try to utilize what's,
Okay, I'm just, I don't, not to mention one off Crabtree, people come in that way.
Hmm.
You could take, like, right in through here. Square that off, right?
Mhm.
This little bit here.
yeah, it was just trying to get some idea, a little bit of room for him to back out of the space.
I see.
Yeah, well, you got a bit of work to do in several areas. Thank you.
Ms. Gavin.
So my concern is the building itself. It, to me, needs a lot of refresh. I did read where you're gonna just paint with the existing colors. That's true.
Yeah. They were just gonna freshen up the outside.
And this is our center of town and we're looking to improve the look of our town and we have design standards. So I just wish there was going to be more than just painting. Also the big, huge air conditioning unit that's visible.
There's at least 3 rooftop units that are sticking out. Yeah. I agree. Might want to have a look and see if those are necessary.
Okay.
So he's not considering doing anything to improve the look of the exterior of the building.
At this time, they just wanted to. At this time, they were hoping to get in and utilize the site as is. So we went through with them, explained the design standards with them, worked on trying to come up with a compromise, so to say, between,
You've done some good things with the landscaping. This is an interesting one, right? Because it falls within the new standards.
Yep.
And so we can apply those, but it's an existing building. But I agree with Mary that something has to happen with, I mean, this is, like she said, it's the center of town. We've got to enhance the visibility.
and I do agree with that being the center of town. I know we're probably gonna be under a little extra scrutiny. So I will work with them and see if maybe we can come up with some sort of way that utilizing the existing building, some sort of way that we can fit that into the design standards.
Mark, can you go to the Google map? Yeah. Jump down to the street. I'm sorry, Mary, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm good.
Oh, you're good?
Yeah.
That's everything? Mr. Bloss.
My main concern is when you look at the building, the way it is right now in Frank's Sushi, that the AC, the heating and air conditioning, that just, it looks like, for lack of a better term, junk on the roof. And I know from experience that they nice vinyl fencing can go right around there. It's not a real expensive job, but that's one of the things, if we're gonna get into this, let's dress it up a little bit. Let's do that right up there, because the minute you look at that Frank's Sushi, I see the air conditioning unit.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then you can see there's another one over here.
Yeah. you
Yeah,
can-
yeah,
that's it.
that one just really catches your eye when you know.
Yeah. Mark, I don't-
That's gotta go away.
Yeah.
Is it safe at this point? That,
Something different on the siding, I think has to happen on the lower level. You're
I'm
right.
all set, yeah.
All right, so this is our opportunity to clean it up.
Yep.
If we don't, it may stay like that for another 20 years.
I understand.
And I think we can be a little bit lenient with the new standards, but that's not gonna work.
And Mark, what about this?
Is that necessary, the garage?
So the garage is not going to be used necessarily as part of the restaurant. I'm being told it's something property owners would still like to keep as far as storage.
Cause you can pick
like
up some
personal
parking there.
Storage
We're gonna want it gone.
gone.
Mark, can you go to the aerial? Please. Zoom in on, where are we? Go over, yeah, zoom in here. So that he wants to just keep gravel?
Yes.
No. We need pavement, right? And we need the entrance made into a driveway entrance with grass, landscaping.
Probably. Something here of defined for.
Yeah. Now
So
go to-
if it. So when we played around with some different sort of parking layouts, and it worked pretty good if we could get parking along Crabtree with the idea of paving some of that. The idea though was that we would be utilizing an entrance off of Crabtree closer to those buildings. We'd be crossing that parcel that's at the southwest corner of the block. with the thought of having a cross-access agreement. I don't know if something like that would work, or if we should have a separate.
I think that comes into the whole discussion here of how we combine all these parcels. Which side is which?
Yeah.
If we're down to one cross access easement, I said that's better than the umpteen you were gonna have.
Yes.
So the dumpsters are here? or
Yeah,
Will be here?
you can kind of just see, just outside the shadow of the garage, there's a dumpster it looks like a dumpster is currently sitting there. So utilizing that area, we were just thinking of keeping it there and enclosing it.
Okay. And,
These blocks. Those go all the way up. You show landscaping.
Yeah, so, the block wall's actually part of, they fall on Burned Aries property. Yeah, you could see just behind the dumpster enclosure, we have that line, you just had your cursor on,
Yeah.
the property line. And then, the majority of the block wall is going to be off the.
Okay. I think they go up along.
There are some blocks up through that way that are, if you were to look at, street view, you would see.
those are all burned area?
Those, unfortunately, I don't know the ownership of, because we're training up a new field guy and he didn't think to locate those. Certainly we can get those removed. They look like there are some sort of barricades, keep somebody from going through, burned area into that parking lot or vice versa. But I had, 2 trees along there. We could certainly get rid of the blocks and maybe increase, landscaping through there.
Like a berm.
That'd be good.
Maybe
Yeah.
discourage people from.
Definitely. Mark, can you go to the layout again? Please. Yeah. So the parking lot got what I think are just striped island things in here. Where are they? These? So our new standards require that it be a built-up grass area with trees.
Okay.
So that's what needs to happen with those. The entrance onto 31. Can you take a left out of there now
You,
and survive?
yeah. you Could not realistically probably make a left turn out of there. There's nothing right now. To the best of my knowledge, it's a full and, full ingress egress entrance. But I don't think realistically you'd be able to make a left out of that.
It seems like it needs signage. Or no, can we do that? I know it's existing. And probably a radius. Okay.
But we can certainly request.
In a radius.
Well, any modifications would have to be approved by
And they need to be able to turn right into.
Right in, right out.
Yeah. I think that's all I have for now. Mr. Wilkie.
I'm just gonna agree with the previous comments for the facelift of the property and the building. I think nobody's really gonna complain about enhancing the corner. So I think you have an opportunity to really make it look nice.
Thank you. Mr. Procopio,
I don't have anything else to add right now.
Mr. Jermaine. Mr. Parrish. Yeah, and again, I like what you've done so far. This is a difficult spot because it's an existing site, but this is our opportunity to clean it up and it needs it.
It's understandable.
Appreciate that.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
That is our last agenda item. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that I had a conversation with the supervisor and with Steve and Kate, the town engineer, about our architectural engineer. Where we secure an engineer that can do the review of the new architectural plans. And that's moving forward from the town board's perspective. So at some point soon, hopefully, we'll be making the planning board will approve an engineer to do that job for us. And that's all I have. Anybody else have anything?